I'm Leigh Brown. This is Crazy Shit in Real Estate. Today, I'm going to bring you an amazing local realtor from the foothills of North Carolina, Starr Franklin. We're going to talk a little real estate, a little Western North Carolina Helene cleanup, and frankly, just a lot of interesting viewpoints on things. I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. So tune in, and I'll see you on the other side.
Is it on?
It is. Sorry, I'm late. I thought you were 2:00 and I thought I was only 10 minutes behind, but as it turns out, you were 1:30, so I'm 40 minutes behind.
It's okay. It actually worked. I don't have to put a sign in the yard till after this.
Oh, well, perfect. Since I'm sitting here reading about the situation with this camper, I got a bad feeling about that one. I feel like we're getting scammed.
Yes, I agree. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna turn my computer up. My volume up on my computer. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna close my door.
I know where you are, though. I've been in there.
Yes. It's kind of a bland wall, but I had to close this blind so I don't have like crazy light everywhere.
You need like a big American flag on the wall behind you, Star. It'd be on brand.
Yes, I do. Once I got my tile guy here and he's doing my tile in my basement, the bathroom. Once I get all that done, I'm going to rearrange. So
There you
have
go.
it look more official office. Yours looks nice.
Well, I'm in my actual office, but I forgot I have a box on the couch. So whoever's watching this episode, don't judge the box on my couch, which actually has some closing gifts in it that they were late showing up. So now I got to get them sent it. So,
Yes.
Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Well, yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think I'm in season 10. So you're like in the decade-long program of Crazy Shit in Real Estate, which I thought about renaming it because there's some people in my circle that do not like that there's a cuss word in it. And I'm like, y'all got to settle down a little bit.
Well, my grandma was a good Southern Baptist, but she used that word all the time because she said, that's how they grew up.
Well, it's like I read, J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly Elegy, and he talks about Mama's favorite word was the F word. And it's a very effective word, got to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Take my reading glasses off so I can look normal here. So these are my almost Tiffany colored looking ones. They're so cheap from the Harris Teeter because I couldn't find them the other day. Did I tell you that? I had like 1,000 pairs of reading glasses around me and I was on my way to an event and I think I'd left them at the job site and had to stop at Harris Teeter and buy some more reading glasses. It hurt my feelings real bad.
Wait a minute. You lost your American flag reading glasses?
Yes, girl. And so I had to buy some more on Amazon because why can't I buy American flag readers everywhere?
I don't know. That's a little bit odd.
Maybe we should put that on the Patriot Relief merch site.
That'd be a good idea.
Let me write that down.
That actually, to be honest with you, that would actually sell. I really think it would.
I think it would too. I had to find I'm sure they're made by some little Chinese sweatshop. So, are there American-made readers? If you're a listener or a viewer and you know about American-made reading glasses, please put it in the comments or reach out to us separately. So, Starr Franklin, why don't you tell our audience who you are, where you're located, how long you've been in real estate? Give them a little bit of the Starr Franklin background.
Yes. Okay. So I'm Starr M. That's M for McClure, my maiden name, because us girls like to keep some type of our maiden name in there, right?
And we had it for a long time.
Yes, Starr M. Franklin, and I have been in real estate since the very end of 1998. And I got into real estate because number one, I've always loved house plans and all that kind of stuff. So, and plus, I was able to be a very active mom, stay active and then take my kids. I've raised 3 real estate kids. They know the lingo, right?
I mean, they have no choice.
Right, exactly. And so, it's just grown. And I could say I'm blessed to have been on an amazing team, the Donna Austin team. And Donna, she was also a teacher of our Catawba Valley Association. And so she's been helpful with a lot of litigation with a realtor. So I was on an amazing team. They retired last year, exactly a year. So now it's just, as we say in the South, little old me. And I'm rebranding myself, working and getting in with my name, Starr Franklin, and working on my LLC. But yeah, I've learned a lot. Our award-winning team, we sold 24 million. We were very busy. I can do residential, commercial, land, construction. So it's just I'm like a jack of all trades, and I love connecting with people and finding out how I can help them. And as you say, open new doors for their life. So yeah.
So now you work in Burke County, North Carolina, which is Morganton, Valdez. Where else do you work in that area? Do you go up towards McDowell County and Marion, or how far out do you go?
Yeah. So my official office is Caldwell Banker Boyd Hassel and Hickory. So Catawba Valley Association, but we do Caldwell, Burke, Alexander, Catawba, McDowell, as we say, McDowell, and I go into Avery, Watauga, and I do some in Lincoln County, just because I grew up when I was a little girl. My dad built a log house, two-story log house on 100 acres out close to South Mountain, there, Sugarloaf Road. So we were close to Shelby. We were close to all I grew up, my papa took me to cow sales and all kinds of stuff. So I know a lot about the country. I know a lot about the city area. When I say city, I mean, Hickory is as big as we get, right? I mean,
but Hickory bigger than Morganton. I guess they got to be. Is it?
I mean, it is. Yeah, it's a bigger city than Morganton. Morganton is growing. Morganton does have nice shops.
I think about Morganton because you got the big the facility there makes it feel bigger than it is.
Yes. So we're growing by leaps and bounds. We got people moving here from all over. So yeah.
So why don't you live in that two-story log cabin on 100 acres? Because if that was what my papa had, I would have put down a claim and taken it.
Yeah, well, okay. So my dad inherited the land, and I
love your dad.
Yeah, and then but it wasn't mine to keep. It was my parents, and then my papa and my uncle. So they decided to sell it because it was just a lot to keep up with. And would I love to have it? Yes. Would our family love to have it again? Absolutely. But having said that, my other set of grandparents grew up on between Linville River, a cabin there, and then Lake Hickory, we had a cabin. And so we were all over between the farm animals and the lakes and the rivers. And I felt like we had it all. And then they sold it. Yeah.
It's the hardest thing about growing up on land. Like I grew up on 400 acres and you're so used to just kind of roaming around. And then when you become a grown up, you don't want to deal with it. And then you become the next level of grown up and you wish you could deal with it again.
Exactly. So I'm going back to that. So I need chickens and I miss the cows and all that cool stuff.
Would you like some? I can give you some chickens and they will come with their own rooster. He is available to guard your flock. He's wonderful at that.
Well, in Valdez, we can't have roosters. There's an ordinance against it.
I know, but I think the police chief is going to work with us because he should know that the rooster I'm giving you is named President Franklin Roostervelt. He's basically a president. And I think that the chief would like that.
That's a good point. We might have to advocate for that. I love it. We'll keep the name too.
I mean, he's kind of a pain in the tail and his idea could way too big, but that falls in with his namesake.
Of course. He's going to strut that around. Absolutely.
Okay, so in a normal episode, I would ask you to tell a crazy story about your real estate life. But since September 27th, we have been living a crazy real estate life. And you were probably one of the first text threads I got going from here in Cabarrus County because I knew you were right up there in the foothills, as you like to call yourself, a Burke Billy, not a hillbilly. And you were out of power, out of water, and leaning into the Hurricane Helene situation from day one. So why don't you share with our viewers and listeners, as a real estate pro who was not in the towns that washed away, but in one of the downriver, wildly impacted areas that got almost no attention. Tell us what it was like when the storm hit and the first few days after.
Yeah. So I've been in hurricanes before just because being at the beach. My grandparents had a beach house, but this is different because usually hurricanes slow down over land. This did not. Who knew it was going to be this bad? Nobody didn't. And I, like I said, when I grew up in the country, we camped out in that log house where it was finished. So, I mean, I know all about camping, old lamps and stuff like that. Just wasn't prepared. Right. And so we were without power. Burke County, I'm kind of in the middle of Burke County. Western Burke County got it a lot worse than we did. But we were without power for a good almost 5 days. It took a while for our, internet and all that to come back up. So embarrassingly, we did very well compared to the other ones. It was weird walking outside, seeing the trees just swirl around. It made me feel like I was at the coast, but I was not. We have a lot of tree damage still in the Valdez area, Burke County area, and they're still cleaning up all that debris. But I will say I did have my handheld ham radio. I did use that, and I was able to hear Mount Mitchell. I was able to hear what all was going on, the welfare checks. So thank God for that, because that was my lifeline out to the world, what was going on. Learned a lot that I maybe didn't want to learn, but that's kind of the way it goes. And then when people started climbing out from stuff, me and my sister, we got in the car and we said, people need help. So we started collecting a lot of baby stuff, and we went over into Tron International Center there in Polk County, which is just outside of Rutherford County. Know a lot of people in Rutherford County. But anyway, we started donating, and you roll your sleeves up and you go to work to take care of the people, because you realize they're in need, they're hurting, they've lost a lot. Some have lost everything, some have lost loved ones. And how do you start? Well, you just start, you just take that step. And that's where we were, and just starting to rebuild back our West North Carolina families. And I love these people, and it just grieved my heart to see all the things that they were going through. And, when you're on the road, Leigh, and you're, first it was trying to find out, okay, what gas station's open? Because a lot of people need gas. Mm-hmm. So you have no electricity, so the gas stations are up, and you learn to realize, okay, well, that gas station's, there was lines for there was lines at the McDonald's, certain places that would start opening up. But, it got real in a hurry. It got real in a hurry. In less than 24 hours, a lot of people's lives changed. And when you're going down the road too, and you're seeing all of a sudden the linemen are headed your way, the hay trucks are headed your way, the water is headed your way. And I get emotional think about it. And I would just be driving down the road, and I'm like, they're coming our way. Oh my God. I was just so thankful for the amazing hearts. My gosh, and your amazing heart. And, how can we reach out and help these people? And we're still climbing out from a lot of this stuff. A lot of people still don't have grocery stores open. Some of them are just now getting their water back on, where they don't have to boil their water. So we're still dealing with that. And now it's cold, and then they're dealing with bears. So I know that's probably a lot more than what you wanted, but that's kind of where we are, living in that reality. It's a different reality right now for a lot of folks.
No, but you've been like, I caught something you said, and it resonates with so many of us that were not in a house that floated away. And I think the number I saw this morning was 1,875 houses at 100% loss. That's a lot of houses, and that doesn't count the ones that can be saved. That's the lost houses. You said, embarrassingly, we were only out of power for a few days. And I think that's where I know that we didn't have internet for a week. We only lost power for a couple of days because we're outside the zone. And there's a survivor guilt that goes along with, I'm not experiencing on a personal level what my neighbors are experiencing. Therefore, I have to go all in for this. And wonder where it's so interesting that you said that, because I hadn't even thought about being embarrassed to be okay, but it's totally how I felt. And I know it's how you felt when we were running those first loads in and out. You take a load in to people that are desperate, and you come home and you're like, I'm okay. And
yeah,
and they've got nothing. And I still feel that now, which is what makes real estate harder than I think it was before the storm, is that an okay house is so blessed and lucky. And a not okay house, we do roll up our sleeves, and how do we help? And I think maybe it's why as real estate agents, we see this a little differently, because we're so connected to what houses mean. And I know you and Angie saw that going out and trucking up mountainsides to go visit people who've not had a human visitor. That lady that you carried those baby supplies to, I think about her all the time, that older lady.
Yes.
She just wanted to visit with y'all. Like, it wasn't the stuff or the house. It was, oh, look, humans.
Yeah, which was very nice, because to be honest, we were trying to figure out how we get up her driveway.
You did. You had your muck boots on.
No, that was not happening, right? We were up on the mountainside in Swannanoa, and bless her heart. She was like almost 80 anyway, but her niece great niece had come to live with her, because she lost her house, and she had an infant, and then a little one, then she's expecting another one. So you go hiking the stuff up the side of the mountain, because you do what you have to do to help the people. It's about helping the people. It's about loving on the people. And, that's just one story. And she's the one that told me. She was the very first person that I heard say she's dealing with bears. I'll look over and see They had to clamp down all their trash cans and everything. And I'm like, are you dealing with bears? She goes, yeah, well, we got bears. She said, I have a family of 5 out there that was visiting them. And this is a little single wide manufactured home, and you're like, wow, because the bears, all that stuff, they have been inhabited. But I mean, their habitation had been turned upside down. But I'm going to go back to something that I think it's interesting that, Leigh, we take advantage of driving downtown our little towns and seeing the lights. We were without lights for almost well over a week, and everything is dark at night. I mean, it's dark. You don't have a street light. You don't have anything like that. So, it's going back and being thankful for the little things that I never thought I would need to be thankful for, if that makes any sense. I'm thankful that I can.
You think about the pioneers, like the
Yes.
1800s. Oh, well, no wonder they went home at 5 o'clock. It was dark. And
It's dark.
there's no street lights, and you don't have your car to get in and plug things into. You best be home because the bears are out. And
Yes.
it does connect you back to that, but then also you realize how fragile our system actually is. And I think that's what we experienced those first few days, just trying to help people get. Well, that agent over in Edneyville, who was the one that told us about the shelter that was using diapers because they were, T-shirts for diapers because they were out. And you realize how fragile our supply chains are, and how, well, their grocery store's gone and the CVS is gone, and there's nowhere to get them except for reach out to your real estate friends who have a network. And we got a buddy with a trailer who can get them in. And it happened like that. Like, even if you see the storm coming, you don't realize what it's about to look like.
No. And that's the thing too, is, all the small communities that we visited, whether it's, Yancey, Madison, Avery, you could go into all of them, Rutherford County. It's like, it's what do people need? It's their needs. And sometimes those needs change, but yeah, the baby stuff, the baby formula, and that makes me think of that little lady that we met up there at that little church up in Minneapolis, who she just got out of the hospital and she'd given birth. Oh, that story probably sticks with me the most. I've heard a lot of amazing stories, amazing, not in a good way, but at the same time, amazing how the Lord took care of them in a lot of this situation too. But, she had to go, obviously she gave birth. She couldn't keep them because they said, well, she didn't have a home to go back to. Thankfully, they found a foster parent that would take care of her she named him River, right? And that would take care of him till she could get back on her feet. But, that day she came to the church, she had just gotten out of the hospital because she drinking some bad water and made her sick. So we don't think about that. So the wells were compromised. And I'm sitting here at my table when you and I were talking about logistically getting some trucks in and out. And all of a sudden I'm like, their wells are going to be messed up. Their septic systems have been messed up. So we don't think about that. When you add utilities in that's a whole nother level that we're talking about. Not just shelter, but now our utilities. And so having met her, she was coming back, healing, number one, of giving birth in this, and also getting better herself so she could physically take care of her son.
Well, and then you get the people that want to take these scenarios and turn it into social media gold and turn it into something it's not, with, oh, DSS took her baby. Like, you don't understand. If you have a newborn and you have nowhere to go, they're trying to make sure the baby is out of the elements so the baby will survive. And it was the lady who had coordinated that event, was her cousin had taken the baby in. So this lady at least had access to her kid while she's trying to get better and figure it out. But the layers of trauma people are going through, it's not enough that she went through the hurricane and gave birth, which is a traumatic medical event, and drank bad water, and her baby's living in somebody else's house, and she's got nowhere to go. But her friend brought her in to get some help. But cousin of this other lady said, don't worry, honey, we got a place for River to stay. But we were able to pray over her and say, look, you've got people that support you getting back. And so there's all these rough scenarios, but all the helpers that have shown up is, it's definitely God working some mighty miracles in the mountains through all this time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know that we're the hands and feet of Jesus, and a part of our job is, it's not just making that sale. that's okay. That's the end goal for sure. But the biggest thing of it is how can we actually help the people? So we have a heart for the people. It's beyond that, that closing. It's about creating relationships, building those communities, and helping them get involved and helping them get, establish roots, and be a part of the community. And you know them, and then you get to know their kids, their families, and that's what it's about. It's about helping the person, and in all this, I feel like the Lord has just done it. Sorry, I'm having to stop this. I feel like the Lord has just made amazing connections all over. I mean, I'm amazed. The people that I meet want to know at God's Way Baptist Church, and then they help us with other things. I'm like, you can't put a price tag on that. Sorry. Can you see me?
I can see you. You didn't go anywhere.
Okay. My phone, I thought I had it on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you good. I bet it was a Wi-Fi call coming in, but it didn't interrupt your feed.
Okay. Let me take this back to.
But it's that the text thread that we built in that first week was our connected realtors in these counties, and they weren't your usual volunteer people. It wasn't the realtors anybody really would know of note, except that we all kind of knew where somebody was. And there's this community connection that you're describing that comes with the closing, where they go meet the neighbor and they find out what day trash day is. And then somebody says, well, this is the good grocery store, and here's the skinny on this situation over here. Realtors connect all those dots. So when the lights go out, a lot of times it's realtors that are out there checking on their clients. Hey, you good? You need anything? And the number of agents who've cropped up, there was this one lady cropped up last week. She said, I'm a real estate agent and also a hairdresser. And so I heard that you met this friend of my friend, and I wanted to ask this question about what I could help with. And I was like, all right, ... connection. But her little real estate brain was like, and she knew exactly where to lean into that connectivity, which it's a superpower that realtors have. And I don't think the public sees that often enough, Starr, because we don't talk about our own connectivity as much as we talk about what we sell.
Right. No, and I hope you can hear me, because my AirPods have been messing up. You can hear me okay? Yeah, I'm sorry. But no, you're right. It's all about dot connections. And I feel like that's really what our job is about. It's dot connections and connecting people. And then how can we help them from that? And sometimes it may not have anything to do about selling them a house. It may be, how can we help them in their personal life? And I think to me, that's extremely rewarding. And you can't put a price tag on that, for sure.
So if you're in real estate and you're listening to this podcast or watching it and thinking, man, I need some more Leigh Brown answers in my life. Well, guess what, friends? I have a new program that is launching right now called Answers.Real Estate, where I will give you every bit of insight I have to help you grow your real estate business, help you better respond to consumers, to provide a more excellent real estate experience, so that the next time you land on crazy shit in real estate, you'll have a better solution to whatever you ran into. Answers.Real Estate. There are monthly plans available. You will love it. Get your coaching. Sign up with me today.
So since Helene happened, and we're recording this, we are just over 8 weeks after the storm. We're in week 9 as we record this. What's happening with the real estate market? Are people buying and selling the houses that are unscathed? Are people getting resituated? What are you seeing as a practicing realtor in the mountain counties?
So people are doing, I mean, it's a number of things. So a lot of people are still listing. A lot of people are still buying. We still need housing. What we're working on now too is a lot of those are in the process of remodeling and rebuilding. I say remodel, but they're coming out from all types of damage.
Drywall. We need drywall and sheetrock flooring. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need all that. We need storage buildings. I mean, my gosh, everything. I've seen a lot of people who are able to salvage their house. Like, mud came in the floors, maybe by that. Yes. And so they're having to redo their walls, crawl spaces. So that's where those needs change. But as far as real estate, it's still busy. We still have, as crazy as it sounds, we still have a lot of people moving into this area. I mean, I had people moving in here buying land they want to build. So it's just amazing. And the 8 counties that I feel like that I service really well, that I know comfortably well, most of it is from Catawba on towards the mountains. Well, it is in the mountains. So yeah, people are, I'm out walking land now. We're out, seeing what we can do to get people, number one, their houses rebuilt. And then number two, building new construction, and then, listing and selling already existing homes for sure.
So are the buyers local? Are they drawn to Western North Carolina because they want to be in the community, or is it investors? Because that's a big question I'm getting is who's coming into the area, and I don't know the answer to that.
So they're coming in from all over. So I had people moving here from Alaska, moving here from Arizona, right? Colorado, Las Vegas, Nevada. The guy just finished. We just did a closing on his house after the hurricane, and the lender says, "Hey, Starr, go look at that house. Make sure there's no trees on it so we can finish that closing." All the other houses have trees on it except for that one and the one right beside of it that the seller was building on the land adjacent to them. But yeah, so we got people moving here from all over because North Carolina is appealing. And I like to say how they said at the coast, we've been discovered, and everybody likes North Carolina. They want to move here because we have from Murphy to Manio, we got from the mountains, the plains to the coast, and we have all four seasons. So we kind of have it all, really, when you think about North Carolina real estate. It's very appealing.
It's a pretty awesome place to live. And I will say that I think the world is seeing how we take care of each other here. And I'm sure it happens in other states too. We just do it a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there because I can, that we're the best. Yeah. But it's obviously going to be an opportunity for somebody that loves to be part of a community rebuild to come in, because this is multiple years before we see the area come back. And one of the places we're all going to have to figure out how to focus is how we get our businesses back to make sure there's jobs for everybody across the economic spectrum, and how do we get some housing back that will be able to replicate what we had. I worry about those, not that we don't like the custom home people from out of state, but I do worry about the people you and I have met with that are in these little generational paid off single wides that they inherited, and they can't afford to live anywhere else, but they don't want to leave where their family's been all this time. I do worry about what that future looks like if we don't get these bureaucrats to take a step back and realize this was a once in 1,000 years flood.
Well, yes. And to your point, me having grown up on 100 acres, we had 2 creeks, 3 pastors, and we had a quartz mine on our land, so it's just one of those things where I wish we had kept it, but wasn't my call to make. But yeah, whenever and it's your dirt, it's in your family land, and you don't want to give that up. Okay, maybe the river rerouted. Okay, I get that, but let's do everything we can to save these people's lives. It's their inheritance. It's their life. It's their way of life. And I just feel like that's something too that we, we're getting into more of, and it's more of finding out how do we help them keep their land. How do we table all these building codes so we can get them back on their dirt and some temporary shelters, maybe, so they can be there where, they had Thanksgiving dinner with grandma or great grandma. And that's a huge deal for them. And I get it. That's their family. It's their real estate, it's their memories. And I think that's something that too, that, as real estate agents, we get involved in is policy, and we can't ignore it. Policy affects us, it knocks on our front door, like I said, Esther, that's policy. The 3 Hebrew boys, that's policy. That's legislation. And we can't run from that. We have, as ugly as I don't like it sometimes, we can't afford to not be involved.
Exactly. And I know that we keep joking with you about your own political future, but it's because on every level of bureaucracy and government, it's important to have people in real estate that are in the middle of the conversations, because we just see things a little differently than the person who's in a cubicle somewhere, which is why I have to ask you that Mitchell County Commissioner, who was the one trying to enforce code on the tiny houses, has been exposed and doxxed all over the internet. They keep showing her face, and her Facebook page is blown up. How in the world should we respond politically? And you're very involved politically with your local party and with the elected officials. Do you think it's appropriate that we dox her all over the internet, or do you think people should save their comments for the next Mitchell County Commission meeting. I'm a little on it because I think shame can be effective, but
Yes.
destroying a woman's life, I don't think is the best approach to bringing her around to our viewpoint.
No, I definitely don't think it's right to destroy her life. While I say that, these public servants have to remember that they were elected by us and they work for us. And, so they should be held accountable, for we the people. And I think that feedback is important. And if you can't have compassion for the people and help them my gosh, these people, their lives have been turned upside down, and we're going to abide by some building codes. Like, where is the compassion in that? Like, there's some things that you can't say 100% on. You have to allow for some mercy. There has to be mercy, Leigh. The Bible tells us that mercy and grace. And so we have to give these people opportunity to build their lives back. And if they're not doing the job, we need to put somebody else in there that's going to better represent we the people. And, at the end of the day, here again, it's about helping the people, and about if maybe they need to elect somebody different that's going to stand up for them and advocate for their rights. That's really what it comes down to. And maybe it was good that people get exposed if they're not doing their job properly. That's the way I see it. That's like if a business isn't doing well, maybe they should go out of business.
Right. We have that choice. I will just say this, though. If you are listening or hearing this and you get irritated or mad about what your county commissioners are doing, you can type on the internet all day long. That's not going to have the same impact as you showing up at the county commission meeting and going to the microphone for your 3 minutes as a taxpaying citizen to say, here's my beef, here's my solution, here's the accountability I want. Because all the people in the world can fuss at this woman on the internet. If they don't go to the county commission meeting, there's no reason for her to change her viewpoint, resign her position, or anything else. And it's important for all of us to be engaged and involved so that we don't have petty bureaucrats. And I'm just going to say it's very petty to go pushing building code. When people are in tents and it is 20 degrees, snowing with bears and rattlesnakes outside, that is the arrogance of somebody that has not been uncomfortable. And you're supposed to be uncomfortable because you're exactly right. The elected officials work for us, and we have to quit treating them like they are some kind of extra special celebrity. They're not celebrities, they're public servants. But you hold them accountable, go into their offices, go to their meetings, go to their town halls, and show up. We have to do that. And I think the mountains has shown us that in so many different ways. My question is going to be, though, how do we make FEMA, a federal bureaucracy, stop putting its boot on the neck of North Carolinians and counties affected by disaster? I know how we get to the Mitchell County Commissioner. We can show up at the meeting and probably enough people could give their 3 minutes to where she will quit. I don't know how you get to FEMA, except that I hope that this new efficiency plan will get to them, but I have my doubts.
Well, yes. But to your point, so it's not just on the local grassroots going to town council meetings. And by the way, we get 5 minutes, so I'm glad we get an extra 2 minutes.
You're fancy. We only get 3 in Cabarrus County, so y'all are Winstonburg.
Yeah, we get 5, so I'm thankful for that. But no, but it's actually sometimes showing boots on the ground up in DC and our local congressmen and our state and our senators. It's like, hey, looky here, this is not right here. So when you're talking about FEMA, which is a federal, so sometimes it obviously can go beyond the state legislation, so it needs to go into federal, and we need to hold our senators accountable and be up. They say for every one visitor in DC, you got 1,000 people behind you. So on that stat, so if you got 10 people showing up on behalf of West North Carolina, getting FEMA off, doing the right thing, where we have to shame them into doing the right thing or what. But if we have 10 people show up at our state senators, where it would be Tillis and Bud for us in North Carolina, and say, look, we're here, we're the face of West North Carolina, we need help. So, I think that's something else too, which means, to your point, we get in a car and we drive about 7.5 to 8 hours up to DC, and we park and we go in. And listen, they work for us too. So, it's nice. I'm going to say this. It's nice that they have the members only elevator, but will we not vote them in there? So my thing of it is that we don't want everybody feeling comfortable, because there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable in Western North Carolina. And to your point, FEMA, it's bad if you have to shame them into doing their job, but we have to hold these people accountable. And like you said, to your point, just to top it out on the internet doesn't do any. I mean, it may do a little, but that goes away. What makes a difference is when you show up in person. I think
it goes away because the attention span is, which is why it takes people like us that continue to talk about Western North Carolina, and we continue to go out there and find people in need and do the work, because the news cycle has long moved on. They got so many other things to be upset about, and we're the upset cycle of the news right now. They upset about something different every day, and they've forgotten about this stuff.
Yeah. And they're still in need. So yeah, all the first faith coming in, they had a bunch of water up front, they had a bunch of clothes. So, but the needs change. So it's not finished. And I have, a newspaper talk about this is about 2 weeks ago, where I think at that time FEMA only put in 5 of the temporary mobile shelters. I'm like, why we only have 5? I mean, why do we have 5? I mean, I was in this past Friday, I was up in Avery County looking around. I mean, there's still great need. And why are we slow rolling this?
That's the big question, because if you watch that interview with the FEMA administrator, she said they'll deliver some next year. And then she had that little smug comment about how they do it better than the people on the ground. And I say, I would just have to respectfully disagree, because our little Patriot Relief Organization has delivered more shelters than FEMA has. And that's not right. You take my tax dollars, please use them efficiently. And if you can't use them efficiently, give them back, please. And I will use them efficiently, because there is a disconnect here. And in fact, it struck me the other day. I was with Jason Ward, who is running out of Silverados in Swannanoa. That was a music venue, and now they're a huge distribution center doing great work. And we were meeting with the state legislator. And Jason's point was so salient, because he said, we didn't mind stepping in at the first, because we're all here. We're able to mobilize. We are the ground people. We can do this. But y'all should have stepped in after that. And here we are all these weeks later, and there's still no coordination from North Carolina and no coordination from the feds. The coordination that exists is coming from grassroots people. And I'm delighted to serve, and you're delighted to serve. But the amount we pay in taxes, you'd think they'd have gotten a little bit organized by now. Just a little bit.
Well, I agree. And what I'm seeing, there's a lot of things being exposed. There's a lot of things that we're seeing needs to be mitigated. And I'm talking about some leadership needs to be mitigated. And I think perhaps we need to have a lot of common sense running for some of these elected offices that will get in there and actually take care of the people, and not just, show up for shaking hands and yes, I will, and then forget about us whenever they move on or get into their offices. And I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but I have seen this, and these people are still in great need. And yes, we do pay taxes. So we should be deserving of that. Well, we are deserving of that, our tax-paying dollars. And when they're not taking care of the people, that's wrong. That's actually evil. That is bad leadership. And, you got people freezing. And I mean, my gosh, it was freezing Friday. I was up there and it was so cold. And I think so many people are disappointed, the feedback I'm hearing, and it just wasn't handled well at all. But like to your point, thank God that there was Patriot Relief. There's so many other people out there, good organizations, Samaritan's Purse. A lot of people are helping, and thank God for that. The little churches or the donation sites, some of these little rural fire departments, they know the people. And I'm like, but shouldn't our elected officials who said that they know us, shouldn't they be advocating for us? Shouldn't they have FEMA out there for us? But I'm not seeing that. And that's a great disappointment, beyond a great disappointment, for sure.
But then, because you and I are very positive people, we're totally going to give a giant round of applause and high fives to Senator Warren Daniel and his wife, Leigh, because they have tirelessly worked in the region. Representative Jennifer Balcom from Hendersonville has
absolutely.
She was the one that let my representative, Kevin Crutchfield, know about the flip-flop situation so we could mitigate that right away. Representative Jeff McInnes scooted over from Iredell County to make sure he was up to speed. So we would be remiss if we did not give a huge shout out to those elected officials and just respectfully say to all the rest of the ones that are doing what you can do it louder and faster. And those of y'all that aren't doing anything loud and quickly, put your foot on the gas, because we got people out there that are in need. And while we, the realtors, are delighted to help out and delighted to be the boots on the ground, we don't have the same dollars that you have in Raleigh and in DC. So put your dollars on the ground and don't forget the people.
Yeah. And I would like to piggyback on your comment about Warren and Lydia Daniels. They're my personal state senators, and I know that he's been busy advocating for us on the state level. And, I've been with him. And of course, he's been to our sites, so very, very thankful for what he's doing. And there's a lot of good ones out there. So, we applaud them and we thank them very much for all their hard work and standing up for us and advocating. But I'm like you, we need to have everybody, all hands on deck, not just a few. And like I said, I'm thankful for the ones that we have, but we need to have everybody on deck for sure. Absolutely.
That's right. All right. So if you could, let's finish our episode with a what if question. So if you could change one thing about real estate, and you've been in the business for almost 30 years, how crazy is that? You are past your silver anniversary and heading towards the 30 mark. What's the one thing you would change about real estate if you could change anything?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I'm thinking, well, some of the forms I don't like.
I mean, we can blame the DOJ for that. We can blame NAR and the Consumer Federation of America. We can blame all the organizations that are telling us how to do things, but North Carolina is better than most states. So you can't fuss about the forms. Taking that away. Try something else.
Yeah. Well, gosh, Leigh, that's a good question. You put me on the spot. I might have to mull that one over because I have a couple, but I don't know. I really like a lot about what North Carolina does because we've had buyer agency in place for a long time. So we already know buyer agency, and some of the states that don't are scrambling to catch up.
I feel sorry for them. We're so fortunate here.
So I really like buyer agency, and I don't know, maybe make it a little bit easier for the first time home buyer. I think, a lot of times they really stumble trying to get into homes. And, I think maybe I don't know if this is a federal government thing or what, but maybe make it a little bit easier for those that are really trying hard to get into home buy, to have that 911 physical address, they want to have that deed. And I think maybe we can make it a little bit easier because sometimes, when, the rubber of life hits the road, some people have had some hiccups, and I would like to see maybe a little bit more grace and mercy towards, especially the first time home buyers who've fallen on hard times or something, and they really want that house. And I think I'd like to see a little bit more help for them. If I could change some stuff on that for them, I definitely would.
Well, what you're saying there is that our lives should not be controlled by 3 credit bureaus who are unelected and telling us what we can and can't do, which I think is something we should tell Elon and Vivek about for their little government efficiency project. Let's wipe out the credit bureaus.
Yes.
Because they do stop a lot of people who perhaps didn't have the education early on about what a credit score is, where it came from, or how to build it and protect it. So that's a really good point. You and I have served people that have paid cash for everything because they listened to Dave Ramsey, and then it turns out their credit score doesn't allow them to get a mortgage, but they're very qualified.
Yes.
They went to community college and changed jobs, and now they don't have the proper amount of time to get the credit bureaus to give them the right score. So I think it's a great point. But what's cracking me up here is that I know now how much relief work you've done in the last 2 months because you talk about a 911 physical address. Because Lord, have we had that conversation? What's your 911 address?
That's right. I need your physical address.
Where can 911 find you, and we can get you mail? That is the new standard. God love it.
I do too. Well, and UPS and FedEx, they got to have that physical address because they don't deliver to post office boxes. So there you go.
I don't know, but the alternative is Amazon bringing it in by drone, and I'm a little creeped out by that. Not gonna lie to you, I'm not in favor of Amazon dropping me anything to my house.
Yeah, not a fan either, for sure.
Oh, Starr, if somebody wants to reach out to you and find out more about the areas that you cover, about how they can buy some land or call on you as a real estate or political expert, what's the best way for them to find Starr M. Franklin?
Starr M. Franklin. I'm actually I have an Insta and Facebook account, but also my cell is 828-308-7485. Let me say that again, 828-308-7485. I am advertising on WSVM as Starr M. Franklin. But yeah, and of course I am an agent with Caldwell Banker, Boyd and Hassel in Hickory. So there's not a whole lot.
Donna Austin look good. I know how proud she is of you because that woman's an icon in real estate. So,
well, she's a great teacher. I miss her. I have felt orphaned for a whole year, but I'm kind of getting used to this different seat. So I'm learning, and I'm thankful that I have you to hang out with. So I have a new sister, and I'm excited about that.
Well, let's be honest. Donna doesn't miss real estate nearly as much as it misses her.
No, that's true. That's true. She's coming in. She's coming in this month. I'm being sworn in as a board of director for Catawba Valley Association of Realtors, and she's passing the baton to some other people. So I'll get to sit with her one more time. So I'm excited about that.
Well, thank you for serving real estate. Thank you for serving the state of North Carolina in all the ways. And thank you for being my sister in Patriot Relief, because it's just been the blessing of my life to have you to ride along with in this project. And I know we got a lot more years of doing good things together.
Amen. Well, thank you. It's been my pleasure and totally my honor. Thank you, Leigh.
All right, people, if y'all got something to say something nice about Starr in the comments. Hit the subscribe bell so you can catch more conversations, and we'll see you next time on the show.
By the way, friends, don't miss my brand new coaching program at answers.realestate, where you can have access to Leigh Brown, submit your questions, have them answered, meet like-minded professionals, have an entire library to help you build your business no matter what happens in the market. Get signed up today. I promise you'll be glad you did. So if you found value in this episode, please like and subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell, and catch another amazing episode by clicking above. Crazy Shit in Real Estate is also available on all of your normal podcast apps. So if that's where you like to hang out, go find me, click subscribe, and most importantly, leave me a review that says you think I'm awesome, my guests are awesome, or this content is just exactly what you were looking for. And then, by the way, if there's something you need, you want to learn about something, you can comment below anytime. You can also send me a direct message if you need to remain anonymous. No judgment. But anyway, I'll only judge if you forget to subscribe and click. I'll see you next time.